Hello everybody. I'm making this video because a lot of people still think that Bitcoin is too expensive, and I want to explain why it's not. I want to explain why I have a good reason to forecast a maximum price of 220,000 for Bitcoin this year. And I know that sounds crazy, but I think by the end of this video, you'll understand why that's not too far-fetched. Now, I'm going to be using two indicators that have accurately predicted the top of Bitcoin in the last two bull markets, and this video is going to focus on when to sell and take profits. But even if you prefer the strategy of averaging in and accumulating Bitcoin for a long period of time, you would have likely outperformed the market by 100% based on what we've seen over the last few years and based on what we're seeing right now. And we're also going to talk about how to consistently profit on Bitcoin, not just in 2021, but for all the years to come. All right, so let's get started. First, you'll need to go to tradingview.com and create a free account for yourself, and then go down to the description of this video and click on the TradingView link. That link will bring you to my chart, so you'll have the two indicators and you can follow along with me. Okay, so when you load the chart, it should look like this, and you should see the indicators at the top left corner of the screen. If you just see the little arrow pointing down, then you need to click that to expand it, and go ahead and toggle the Bitcoin stock to flow rainbow indicator. Click the little eye icon. Now it displays. This indicator is an extrapolation of the analysis published by Plan B. The short version of this model suggests that the price of Bitcoin goes up every 4 years after the halving event because that's when the supply of Bitcoin is reduced by 50%. You can read more about how this model is constructed, and you can find the link to this in the description below. Now, back to the charts, we can see where these two horizontal lines meet up and then they turn vertical. This is when the halving event occurs. And the reason this happens, the reason it goes vertical, is because the projections for Bitcoin changes after the supply is reduced by half. We're going to refer to this line as the projected low of the Bitcoin bull market. And this red line that's always going to be on top is the projected high of the Bitcoin bull market. The colors represent how much time has passed since the halving event. So we're always going to start with orange, and that is the beginning of the bull market, and then it's going to turn into yellow, and that means we are in the middle of the bull market, and then it's going to turn green, which means we are nearing the end of the bull market. And so if we just scroll over and get the full picture here, we can see that this happened over and over again. You'll see that the projected high was reached in 2013 and the projected high was reached in 2017. And as you can see, it was when the color was green for both of them. Now I'm going to see where we are today. This really just puts the price into perspective, doesn't it? We have just turned yellow and we are in the middle of this bull market. There are plenty of gains still to be had. So it is not too late to buy Bitcoin. So the reason why I'm projecting 220,000 for the price of Bitcoin is because that is where the projected high is sitting at. And we see in the last two bull cycles, we hit the projected high each time, right? So there's no reason to believe that it will happen any differently, although it could, but that's why we want to use another indicator to let us know exactly when we should sell, whether we do end up hitting the projected high or the projected low, or maybe somewhere in between. This is where the pi cycle indicator is going to be useful. So I'm going to toggle off the stock to flow indicator and I'm going to turn on pi cycle. And actually this chart works better on the daily chart. So I'm just going to type 1D here and hit enter. It's going to change it to daily. You can also toggle that up here. And I'm going to rewind and we're going to take a look at what happened in 2013. So here we are back in 2013. These are two moving averages, red and green. And the way to read this is that when red is below green, we're looking for Bitcoin to be bullish. So Bitcoin is going up, and as soon as red crosses over green, that is where this indicator will print this label here, the pi cycle top. That means that a sharp sell-off is coming. And as you can see, that's exactly what happened. If we scroll over here to the right, we see a big sell-off. Red crosses back down below green, so we're looking for it to be bullish again. And sure enough, as soon as red crosses back over green, we get another sell indication, another pi cycle top, and another sell-off. So here we are in 2017. Red is below green, which means we're expecting a bullish Bitcoin. As you can see, it rises. And as soon as red crosses over green, we get this pi cycle top indication. And just look at how accurate this is. You would have gotten out right here at the exact top right before this huge sell-off. Look at this. I'm going to take the high to the low. It's roughly around 85%. You would have got out right before an 85% sell-off. If you remember, at that time, there was just so much heartache. People watching their accounts just be diminished rapidly. And by using the pi cycle top indicator, you can make sure to get out right before these sharp sell-offs occur. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch this back over to the weekly chart, and we're going to turn on both indicators because we're going to use these together to determine exactly when we're getting out. This is our game plan for 2021. Let's review everything that's happened using both of these indicators. So here's the halving event. We see that the stock to flow chart goes vertical. That's the halving event. And that's why we're seeing this orange color here. That's the beginning of the bull market. And then we actually reached a pi cycle top in the middle of the bull market when the color was still yellow. And this was actually an anomaly within this bull market because this wasn't the actual end. The end occurs in Q4 the year after the halving event. So we know that, right? The end of the bull market is going to be when we start printing these green bars. So if this were to happen knowing what we know now, we would have known that this is a top, but it's not the top of the 2013 bull market. So the way that you could have played this was, okay, I see a pi cycle top, but we only hit the low, the projected low for this bull market, right? This lower line here, this is the projected low, and it's only April. It's only April of 2013, and the end of the bull market is not supposed to happen until Q4. So we know that this is a top, but not the top. So maybe we sell here, we let it sell off, and then we buy back in at a lower price. That would have worked out very well for you because we shot right back up and we hit the projected high in 2013. And then this was the big sell-off, right? This is the sell-off that occurs before the next halving. Right here we see the lines go vertical again, color orange. Middle of the bull market, yellow, and then the end of the bull market, green, and boom, we hit the high-end projected forecast for this model. And then we see another sell-off, like clockwork. So this is why I'm saying there are more gains to be had. It is not too late to buy Bitcoin. We're here at 40,000. The projected low is right here around 125,000 and the high is around 220,000. You still have some gains left. And look, in the last two bull market cycles, we hit the projected high every single time. There's even a chance that we go higher than this projected model. But the only way that we're going to know when to sell is when we print this pi cycle top. We're going to see two scenarios play out. Scenario one is we have a repeat of what happened in 2013, where we get a pi cycle top at the lower projected line, the projected low right here, at around 120. If we see a pi cycle top anytime in Q1 or Q2 of 2021, then we immediately need to be suspicious that maybe that's not the top. Maybe that's just a top. So what you could do is you could repeat the playbook from back in 2013. You could maybe sell half of your Bitcoin and try to buy back in at a lower price. Or we could see a repeat of 2017 and it just goes all the way up to the projected high. And then we get our pi cycle top. And maybe it's Q4. That's easy. We sell and we're done and we enjoy the profits. I expect the top to happen sometime between September and December. If it happens any earlier than that, I'm going to be suspicious, but I'm just going to have to take this as I get new information because it's too early to tell where it's going to go. Either way, regardless of what decision you make, you're going to beat the S&P 500 most likely by doing this. So, you can always measure what types of sell-offs we've had in the past to determine when you're going to buy back in. This sell-off from the top to the low was about 75%. This sell-off was about 85%. and 2017 was from the high to the low another 85%. I feel like this time is going to be a little different, and let me explain why. There is a lot of increasing demand for Bitcoin this time around. 2017 was just a bunch of retail investors that were FOMOing into this asset, but now is different. We have big money. We have what they call strong hands, big money, big institutions buying Bitcoin right now, and they tend to hold on to Bitcoin for a lot longer than retail investors do. And I feel like there's a lot more people that believe in the long-term strategy behind Bitcoin, which is a hedge against inflation. So for these reasons, I feel like we're not going to see as sharp of a sell-off this time. I feel like we're not going to go down 85%. I think the maximum sell-off is going to be 50%. And if I'm wrong, I don't really care because I'm going to start averaging back into Bitcoin after a 50% sell-off. And I will do that happily because I'm going to accumulate Bitcoin until the next bull cycle in 2024. So I hope you found that useful, and if you did, please smash that like button so this can be shared with more people. And if you want to get started with Bitcoin, it's not too late. I personally recommend using BlockFi to purchase Bitcoin, or if you already have Bitcoin somewhere else, you can transfer it to BlockFi and earn 6% interest on your holdings, and that is paid out every month in Bitcoin. So this is a useful way to accumulate Bitcoin while we wait for the peak of this bull market. If you use the link in the description, we will both be rewarded with free Bitcoin after you deposit at least $100 or $100 worth of crypto. If you have any questions, I'm an open book. Leave a comment down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.